Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, which airs out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, Michigan every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern, which you can stream on whamradio.com or davejanda.com, is to provide you information the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will never touch. The focus and spotlight of today's briefing is on the globalist business model of how they induce fear to shut people up. Look, their business model is simple. If they disagree with somebody, or they have a different opinion, or heaven forbid, if the person has an opinion that they don't want the masses to know about, what do? The globalists first turn to abuse, then harassment, then intimidation. And their ultimate goal is to induce fear. Because when someone becomes fearful, they become paralyzed, and they tend to shut up. And that's exactly what the globalists want. That's their entire business model. The good news is they've met their match. Donald Trump and many people within the alternative media aren't being intimidated. They're putting it on the line, including me, to provide you information that you'll never get from the fake media. Let's look at a most recent example of the globalist business model. Their little puppet, Kathy Griffin, really pulled a number, didn't she? It was disgusting. Well, anyone who's not a globalist saw it as disgusting. Look, what she did was try to send a message to Trump and his followers. In other words, you're dead to us, the globalists. You're dead to us. And here is his head. Can you imagine what would have happened if you or I or anyone that was in opposition to the globalist Barack Obama, if we had pulled that? First of all, we never would have, because you see, the difference between globalists and us is ethics. We have an ethical baseline that we're never going to cross. And this, what Griffin did, was beyond crossing that baseline. And look at the effects of what she did. Frankly, I think it opened a lot of people's eyes and turned so many people off that I think they're starting to kind of look at things the way those of us that have opposed the globalists look at things now. And so, a little silver lining, there was some good news to what Griffin pulled because it backfired. But there's some innocent victims in this. Number one on the list, as far as I'm concerned, is Donald Trump's young son, 11-year-old Barron. He was watching the news when this happened, and reportedly, he became very upset that this, in fact, was his dead father's head being raised by Kathy Griffin. No. But it's their business model, right? Abuse, harassment, intimidation, induce fear. But that business model has been used in other methods and other means. Look at Obama and the IRS. Obama used the IRS to abuse, harass, intimidate, and institute fear in order to paralyze or to shut people up. I can honestly tell you that because it happened to myself and my family. We were targeted by Obama and the IRS because of, one, my radio show, and two, my opposition to Obamacare since 2009. And how do we know that? Well, we were served an audit notice. And when my accountants went into the room, they asked that auditor a simple question. You know, the Jandas already pay you a lot of money. They don't have any offshore investments. They've never had a problem. Why are you auditing them? And not surprising to me because of the arrogance. Just as Kathy Griffin was arrogant, this arrogance that really puts people in harm's way, this agent said to our accountants, well, quote, it starts with his radio show, end quote. In other words, we're going to abuse you, we're going to harass the Jandas until he shuts up. Well, we took him on, and I didn't shut up. And the show is still in existence, going stronger than ever. No, Obama is a lot like Kathy Griffin. He used the IRS in that same business model. And he also used his own agencies. How do we know that? The NSA and the CIA were used to not only tap President Trump before he was even president, but you and I, and completely violating our Fourth Amendment rights. How do I know that? Because on our show, Operation Freedom, go to the archives, March 19th, General Tom McInerney blew it wide open. And then 2 weeks later, on April 2nd, Larry Klayman came on the show and reinforced what General McInerney said, that the Obama administration, led by Barack Obama, used John Brennan, the then head of the CIA, and James Clapper, the head of the NSA at the time, and hired a guy by the name of Dennis Montgomery and created a platform called the Hammer that was used to surreptitiously monitor not only Trump, but at least 1 million other Americans' phone calls, emails, internet activity, and financial records. That's right, that is a criminal violation of the Fourth Amendment. Abuse, harass, intimidate, induce fear. That's their business model. But here's where it gets really bad. When they get desperate and it's really going against them, they go beyond abuse, harassment, intimidation, and fear, and they kill. Oh, what? This is conspiracy theory now. No, it's not. His name is Seth Rich, a DNC staffer. That this whole Russian narrative is about trying to delegitimize President Trump's victory over Hillary Clinton's horrible campaign that she ran. It's not about the Russians. You're saying, oh, the Russians hacked the system. No. Information was leaked from the DNC. Seth Rich knew where all the bodies were buried. He was a Bernie Sanders supporter. He saw the election thrown for Sanders, and he put being an American above being a globalist. About time somebody did. And he leaked the information to Julian Assange. We know this because Seth Rich's family hired a private investigator to look into it. And he recently came out and said, well, number one, there were many hundreds of emails on Seth Rich's computer that now sit at the Washington, D.C. Bureau and Washington, D.C. Police Department that did a poor job, if any job, of investigating his murder. You see, Seth Rich was murdered in July of 2016 after it was known, I believe, and many people believe, by folks within the DNC all the way up into the Hillary Clinton campaign. And he was killed. He was murdered. He was assassinated. They had to clean it up, if you will. The private detective said that there are emails linking the DNC and Seth Rich on his own computer to Julian Assange sending him to WikiLeaks. And the investigator also said he was told by Washington, D.C. police officers that they were told by the police chief and through the mayor's office reportedly to stand down, to stop the investigation. Abuse, harassment, intimidation, fear, killing. No, folks. How do we end all this? You take this information, you listen to the show, Operation Freedom, you go to other alternative news sites. Caravan to Midnight, that's run by John B. Wells, does a great job. Go to our website, davejanda.com, go to zerohedge.com, just to name a couple sources. Network this information to anyone and everyone you know. The more people we have knowledgeable, the more pressure we can put on the powers that be. Because once they know we're aware, they're forced to do the right thing, which is to take on the globalist and convict them in a court of law. You can get more information in this regard by tuning into my Sunday show, Operation Freedom, 2 to 5 Eastern. We air. You can download it by podcast. Usually have it up that night, but listen live. And you can call in. Stream at davejanda.com, whamradio.com. Until next time, this is Dave Janda, signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. It's time to step up.